we have seen that probably topics like women empowerment, gender equality, they have not been very conclusive because they were deficient of one very important element, that the role which the man can play in the bringing that notion of coexistence in the society. I have a short presentation. This is basically to ignite the questions which would be coming forth for the discussion, number of questions rather, and this may be setting a stage for further discussion. It is very brief and only covering three main aspects: perspective of the issue of this harassment, women empowerment, and the gender equality, and the gap where we find over a period of time in the literature, Islamic and common perspective, where the world has divided in two main parts: Islamic and the non-Islamic perspective, and then the analysis and proposed strategy. Coming on to the first part, it is basically, I would say, finding out the gap. Let me show the slide right like this. Right, what we have seen is that over a period of time, historically, when we look at the issue of women empowerment and the gender equality movement mainly started after the French Revolution. We know the history and the Industrial Revolution and the American Civil War. And before that, there was a different perspective of the women working within the society. And then number of movements came about, and then they start working on how to equalize the role of women in the society. And basically, the gender equality movement has been long led by women as they vocalize the disparities they experience in the education, at the workplace, and the politics, and society at large. Now, this movement has been intended to push for equal rights, as you know, and opportunities for all women, backed by wealth of data that we find in the literature that evidences a clear gender gap in any field. There is no, doubt about it that our society, made with the development, the developing world, they treat the women in different views. But the question is that to what extent this movement or the other efforts made in the developing countries have been successful. The question arises, have these efforts been able to fill the gap and bring harmony within the working domains of men and women? If you look at the literature and see what is happening around the world, and I would also say, particularly in the Islamic world, we find the dichotomies in what is there in the literature and what we find the actual practices. One view is that it has not been able, all the women movements and the efforts which have been made, they have not been able to bring fruitful convergence and notion of coexistence. We are fighting in different directions. So let me bring this one, right? In different directions. The reason what I find is, if you go over the literature view, it is a deficient understanding of terminologies like confrontation versus collaboration. I will slightly go into the details of saying that the Western world probably the women there, they went for confrontation, not for the collaboration. Then there were dichotomies in teaching versus practices, particularly relevant to the Muslim world, and conflict and actions, and what the Quran says, Ya ayyuhallazina amanu lima taquluna ma la taf'alun.
एक्सक्यूज मी सर सर सॉरी, हमारी मीटिंग का टाइम ओवर होने वाला है, तो दोबारा ज्वाइन करते हैं, वरना बीच में से जो है वो डिस्कनेक्ट हो जाएगा। तो दोबारा ज्वाइन करके फिर हम यहीं से कंटिन्यू करते हैं। थैंक यू।